welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, articles, research, maybe even personal notes, and really boil them down to the key insights.
Yeah, the goal is to cut through all that noise, give you that understanding.
Exactly. So today we're tackling a really fascinating idea, how a life lived in, obedience can become a public sign, like a message for others to see.
Mm-hmm. And our source for this is a devotional that focuses on Ezekiel chapter 12.
Right. So our mission is to unpack Ezekiel's pretty unusual prophetic actions and figure out what it means for our lives, for your life, to be a visible testimony.
Okay, so the devotional cooks off with a pretty stark image. God is talking to Ezekiel about the house of Israel.
Yeah, and he calls them a rebellious house.
He does. He says, they have eyes to see, but see not, who have ears to hear, but hear not. Sets the stage, really.
It absolutely does. And that description, it's not just saying they're a bit disobedient. It suggests something deeper, right? Like a profound spiritual blindness and deafness.
Like they could see and hear, but they're choosing not to. Precisely. Which tells you that, just talking to them, giving warnings in the usual way, it wasn't getting through.
So something more drastic was needed.
Exactly. Which makes what Ezekiel does next so critical.
And yeah, drastic is the word. I mean, imagine being Ezekiel. God gives him these incredibly specific instructions, almost like stage directions.
It really reads that way.
Okay, so first, prepare for yourself an exile's baggage. Simple enough, maybe.
Then it gets weird.
Go into exile by day in their sight. Just like walk out of town with your bags.
In broad daylight, so everyone sees.
And bring out the baggage by day in their sight as baggage for exile. Then he goes out at evening in their sight, as those do who must go into exile. It's very performative.
Very. But wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Get this. He has to dig through the wall in their sight.
Dig through the wall.
With his own hands, apparently, and bring his baggage out through the hole.
I mean, can you picture this? Your neighbor just digging through his wall?
Then lift it on his shoulder, carry it out at dusk, and finally cover your face that you may not see the land.
Wow.
And the key thing the source emphasizes, Ezekiel did as I was commanded. He actually went through with all of it, in public.
That obedience in the face of such bizarre instructions is incredible in itself. And what's really striking here, as you said, is how specific and public it all is.
Right. Not just a symbol he thinks about, but an action he performs.
Exactly. The devotional calls it prophetic. It wasn't quiet. It was an overt spectacle.
Designed to get attention.
Absolutely. The text itself says, I have made you a sign for the house of Israel. You can't just ignore something like that. A guy digging through a wall. It forces you to ask questions.
Which naturally they did. The source says the people asked him, what are you doing? Makes sense.
Of course. You'd have to ask.
So what was the answer? How did God explain this bizarre performance through Ezekiel?
Well, God basically lays it all out. He tells Ezekiel to say, I am a sign for you, as I have done, so shall it be done to them. They shall go into exile, into captivity.
So his personal drama was a direct picture of their national future.
Exactly. A living, breathing prophecy. And it gets even more specific, especially about the leadership.
Okay, like who?
Like the prince in Jerusalem and all the house of Israel who are in it. The prophecy says the prince himself shall lift his baggage upon his shoulder at dusk and shall go out.
Just like Ezekiel did.
Just like Ezekiel. And listen to this. They shall dig through the wall to bring him out through it.
Wow. Mirroring Ezekiel's act again.
Precisely. And the prince shall cover his face that he may not see the land with his eyes. And then this chilling detail. He'll be captured, taken to Babylon, yet he shall not see it, and he shall die there, implying blindness. A literal blindness mirroring their spiritual blindness, perhaps.
That's incredibly detailed. Was the judgment just for the prince and the elite?
No, it broadened out. God also said he would scatter toward every wind all who were around him, his helpers and all his troops, and unsheath the sword after them. So, widespread judgment.
Okay, so exile, scattering, pursuit. What was the ultimate point of all this, according to the source?
The devotional highlights God's stated purpose. And they shall know that I am the Lord when I disperse them among the nations and scatter them among the countries. It was a harsh lesson in recognizing God's sovereignty.
Even in judgment, the goal was recognition of God.
Right. And interestingly, it also mentions that a few of them escaped from the sword, from famine and pestilence.
A remnant.
Yes. And their purpose wasn't just survival. It was so they could declare all their abominations among the nations where they go and may know that I am the Lord. Even the survivors' lives become a testimony, albeit a painful one.
Okay, so we've seen how Ezekiel's very public, very strange obedience became this living sign. Let's pivot a bit. The source really stresses that obedience isn't just personal, it's public. So what does that mean for us, for you listening? In a world that's, frankly, loud and opinionated, how can our obedience be a sign?
That's the core question, isn't it? If we take Ezekiel's experience as a model, it means our lives, the way we actually live, can be a visible testimony.
Even if it's not digging through walls.
Right, hopefully not. But the devotional acknowledges, obedience isn't always glamorous.
Definitely not.
Sometimes it looks strange. Sometimes people don't understand. Ezekiel's neighbors probably thought he'd lost his mind.
I imagine so.
But the power is this. When we live out God's word, it becomes a visible testimony. It speaks.
Can you give an example of how that might look today?
Yeah.
Something less wall-destructive.
Sure. Think about maybe radical forgiveness when everyone expects revenge, or choosing integrity in a business deal when cutting corners is the norm, or maybe living simply when culture screams for more accumulation.
Things that go against the grain.
Exactly. Things that might make people pause and wonder, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
It's not always comfortable. It might even be costly or misunderstood.
Like Ezekiel's actions.
Precisely. His actions were for a nation. And the point is, your obedience, your quiet faithfulness in something that seems countercultural or just odd. It might be the very sign someone else needs to see something beyond the everyday.
So that phrase from the source, faithful living is a powerful witness, really sums it up.
It really does. It's not always about words. Sometimes the action, the lived out choice, speaks much, much louder.
It's a challenging thought that our lives, just through obedience, can be this profound, maybe even wordless sign.
Yeah.
Speaking volumes even when it feels awkward or, well, when nobody seems to get it.
Absolutely. So maybe the question to reflect on is this. What does it mean for your life to be a sign to the people around you?
How can you live in a way that points towards God even when it's difficult, even when it feels like you're swimming upstream?
Yeah. Is there something perhaps that God is asking you to do right now that feels uncomfortable, or that might be misunderstood by others?
And how might that specific act of obedience, that faithful step, actually speak more powerfully than anything you could say? What could your faithful living witness to in your world?
Something to really think about.